Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Yes, it's Superman, strange visitor from the planet Krypton, who came to Earth with amazing physical powers far beyond those of mortal men, and who, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper, wages a never-ending battle for truth and justice. Today, Superman, in his guise of Clark Kent, stands with Batman, both of them helpless, as Slick Bailey examines the walls of Kent's apartment and is within seconds of making a momentous discovery.
Great Scott, Batman. He went into my bedroom. That's where the secret closet is.
Oh.
In just a minute, he'll find it. Then he'll know I'm Superman. What'll I do?
A champagne bottle crashes against the side of a ship. The crowd cheers excitedly as the newly christened ship slides into the water. If you were at Pier 3 at the Brooklyn Army Base last week, that's what you would have seen. For a United States Army transport was being named in memory of one of our greatest war heroes, the USAT Sadeo S. Munamori. The story behind the name is an exciting one that happened only 3 short years ago on a blood-soaked battlefield in Italy. American soldiers were fighting and dying there, and in the front lines was the famous 442nd Regimental Combat Team, a celebrated group made up entirely of Japanese Americans whose record of bravery is unsurpassed in American history. Private Sadeo Munamori was a squad leader in the 442nd. One night, as he and his men silently crept into enemy territory, a violent burst of machine gun fire shattered the air. In the face of great danger, Private Munamori crept up on 2 German machine gun nests that had found their target. He destroyed both. Then, as he crept back to his own men, he saw a hand grenade fall near them. Without hesitation, he flung himself on top of it as it exploded. The lives of his comrades were saved, but the life of Sadeo Munamori was gone. For this act of supreme courage, Sadeo Munamori was awarded the Congressional Medal of Honor, the highest decoration this country can bestow upon its heroes. Now, the United States Army transport, Sadeo S. Munamori, will be a further tribute to him and to his fellow Japanese-American comrades who so gallantly fought and died for their country.
And now, the adventures of Superman. During Superman's absence from the apartment he occupies as Clark Kent, an ex-convict entered and burglarized it. But when he accidentally discovered a secret closet in which was a distinctive blue costume and red cape, the thief realized he had stumbled on the secret of Superman's double identity. Seriously wounded by a police officer, the burglar managed to make his way to a big-time racketeer named Biggie Conroy, to whom he revealed that Superman lived in the Maple Crest Arms, in an apartment which had a secret closet behind a movable panel. But before he could say which apartment, he died. Realizing he could reap a fortune if he knew who Superman was, Conroy directed a henchman named Slick Bailey to pose as a painting contractor and obtain entrance to all the apartments in Superman's building. When Slick Bailey entered Kent's apartment and began tapping on the walls, Kent realized he was hunting for the secret closet. And now, in company with the famous Batman, who is in his guise of Bruce Wayne, Kent can only stand by helplessly as the racketeer completes his examination of the living room walls and enters the bedroom.
Great Scott, Bruce. He'll find the secret closet in a moment and know that I'm Superman. What'll I do?
Well, there's only one thing to do. Grab him and give him the old heave-ho.
No. I can't do that. If we throw him out, we'll be admitting the truth.
That's right, but we can't let him find the secret closet and report it to his gang.
Oh, I know.
Think fast, chum. He's almost at the payoff panel. When he hears that hollow sound, he'll know.
Hey, wait a minute, Bruce. I've got an idea.
Oh, good. Let's have it.
I'm going to put on an act.
What?
Yeah, act like I'm gone in the head. What? Yeah, throw a fit of fainting, everything.
Oh.
You take it from there.
Okay, chum. Count on me.
Good. Here goes. Play along now.
All right.
I don't like that man. He's a rat.
Now, take it easy.
I'm going to fix his clock for good.
No. Clark, no, take it easy.
Let me go. He wants to rob me. That's what he
Come on,
wants to
take
do.
it easy. I'm sure you've got him wrong.
Oh, no, I haven't.
Oh, come on.
I don't
Come on,
think
Clark.
Let me go. I don't trust anybody.
Clark, he's just a painter.
Not even you.
Oh, what do you mean?
Everybody's against me.
Hey,
even you.
what's going on in here?
You're
Help me hold him,
against
mister. He's having another one of his
That's
fits.
right.
A
Him.
fit? Yes, he gets them pretty
He's
often.
the one I
Easy,
want.
Clark, easy.
You said you're a painter.
He is just a painter.
But I know better.
Oh,
You're
come-
trying to rob me.
He's not trying to
That's
rob you,
what.
Clark.
Oh,
No.
me? Let me go. Yes,
hey.
but I won't let you. See, I won't
Clark,
let you.
come
I'll
on.
kill you. That's
Hey,
what I'll
now,
do.
take it easy. Hey, look out,
Oh.
Clark! Clark!
Hey, what's the matter with
Oh,
him?
he's fainted. Oh, this is terrible. Quick, Mr. Bailey, help me carry him to his bed, will you?
Yeah, sure. What's the matter with him?
It's his head. He often gets this way. He thinks everybody's against him.
No kidding.
Yes, I had better call the doctor as soon as he's comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, look, this happened kind of sudden, didn't
It
it?
always does. He's as normal as anybody 1 minute, and then without any warning, he gets violent and tries to kill people.
Hey, it does, huh?
Yeah. Now, just drop him on the bed, please.
Yeah, okay. Hey, he's pretty heavy.
Yeah, that's all muscle, too. Well, you better leave now.
Yeah, sure I will. As soon as I finish examining these walls.
Oh, you better do now.
My painters have to come in pretty soon.
Fix you. You can't cheat me.
Oh, Clark.
I'll kill you.
Clark.
That's what I'll do. I'll
Hey,
kill
he's
you.
coming too.
Yeah, and he's starting to get violent again.
Hey, he is,
Where
huh?
is he?
Yes, and he gets strong as a bull when he's like this.
Kill him
He
when
almost
I get
finished a
my
friend of his
hands
about a month
on him.
ago. Took 4 of us to pull him away.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Where's the man who was here? I'll break him in half.
Take it
I'll
easy.
split his head.
Beat it, Mr.
That's what
Bailey.
I'll do.
Beat it, Mr. Bailey. Hurry, or I won't answer for
Let him have it.
consequences.
Maybe
I better. I'll be back.
Where is he?
All right, but get out.
Let me get
Hurry.
my hands on it. Where is he? There they are.
Easy, Clark. Take it easy, old boy.
all right
easy
now?
now.
Is he gone?
Okay, he's gone, Clark. You can
Oh.
relax.
Whew. You know, for a moment there, I was afraid he wasn't going to fall for it.
So was I.
Oh, brother.
Say, that was some act you put on.
Oh, thanks, Bruce. You did pretty well yourself.
Did you see how fast he got out of here when I told him you almost finished a man last month?
Uh-huh. Hey, wait a minute. What are we celebrating for? I'm not out of the woods yet.
Hey, that's right. Bailey said he'd be back.
Uh-huh. And I can't throw another fit without his getting suspicious.
Well, have you got any more ideas?
Yes, I have. The easiest thing to do now is to get rid of my secret closet.
Did you say easy?
Sure. Only we need a little time. Let's see. Wait a minute. Oh, there he is. Bailey's in the apartment above us now. The penthouse on the roof.
Well, how do you know?
How do I know? I can see him.
Oh, of course, X-ray vision.
Yeah, that's a big apartment. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8 rooms. Take him a good half hour to examine all the walls up there.
But he'll probably come back here when he finishes it.
That's what I figure.
Then we're out of luck. We can't brick up your secret closet in half an hour, even if we had the bricks and mortar, which we haven't.
We've got to do it. I'll peel down to my Superman outfit.
What for?
Gonna hop out to some building yard. In 2 shakes, I'll be back with bricks and mortar.
Oh, I get it.
While I'm gone, Bruce, you remove the panel with a screwdriver. You'll find one in a drawer in the kitchenette.
Okay, chum. But I still wonder if we can do it in time.
We must. There we are, all set. I'll leave by this window. Be back in a jiffy. Up, and away!
That certainly didn't take you long, Superman.
Wasn't wasting any time, Bruce. Now, I'll dump these bricks on the floor. Okay, bring that newspaper, will you please, Bruce? I'll set this barrel of mortar on it.
Okay. Look, is Bailey still up in the penthouse?
Let's see. Yeah, he's still there.
Okay. Set the barrel down.
All right. There. I brought 2 trowels, one for you, one for me.
Me? I've never laid bricks before.
Well, here's where you learn, brother. Come on, let's get to work. Now, just these 2 bricks on top, and we're finished, Bruce. A little more water. That's it. There, that does it.
Right. Hey, that's not a bad job.
No.
We ought to get union cards.
Yeah, remind me of that. Now to get this panel back in place.
Oh, here's the screwdriver.
Oh, thanks. Uh-oh.
What's the matter?
Our friend Bailey is all through upstairs.
Oh, what's he doing?
He's walking into the stair hall. Now he's coming down the stairs. My hunch says he's coming here to finish looking over this room.
I'll buy that. Hurry and finish setting that panel, will you?
Just about finished. Just this one screw. There, that does it. Now, help me straighten up this mess, will you?
Uh-huh.
Throw these extra bricks under the bed.
Check. What are you going to do with a barrel of mortar?
Set it in my clothes closet.
Okay.
There. Takes care of that. How you coming?
Everything shipshape.
Not a second too soon. Bailey's at the door. Let him ring a little more before you let him in, Bruce. I gotta get back into Clark Kent's clothes.
Okay. I'll sweep up this brick dust left on the floor.
Yeah, do that. There. Tie. Check. There. Okay, let him in, Bruce, while I lie down.
Check. Coming.
Wait! Bruce!
What? Now what?
Look! The panel!
Well, what about it?
Don't you see what we did?
No, Holy smokes.
Horrified, Clark Kent and Bruce Wayne, who is Batman, stare at the telltale panel in the wall behind which they have just built a brick wall. What is wrong? We'll be back in a moment to find out, so keep listening.
It was Japan, 1944. Two Japanese faced each other across a polished desk, smiling broadly. The general gloated expansively, talking of the might and power that would soon be Japan's. As he spoke, he turned to the windows of his office and looked out at the sea. The other man listened politely and silently. With equal silence, his fingers reached across the desk and touched the war plans that were scattered there, carefully edging them towards him. As the general spoke on of the glory that would soon be Japan's, the other man studied the vital parts of the military plan. Then he inched the papers back on the desk to where they were at first. When the general finally turned from the window, he saw his listener sitting quietly as before, smiling. Yes, you've guessed it. That innocent-looking man was an espionage agent for the United States Army, an American citizen of Japanese parentage who was risking his life for our country. Yes, gang, all through the war, many of our Japanese-American citizens were facing certain death by doing dangerous but vital espionage work for us. No white man could have done their jobs in Japan so well, because they passed as native Japanese, and the result was a constant leak of vital information out of that country. But the price of such courage was almost certain death. Very few spies ever came out of Japan alive. Those Japanese Americans knew that and never expected to come back. They gave their lives just as Americans of all races and creeds have done throughout our history, that you and I might have a better chance to live. Remember that, gang. Too many forget it.
And now, back to the adventures of Superman. His hand shaking, Clark Kent directs Bruce Wayne's attention to a panel in the wall, behind which had previously been the secret closet.
We put the panel back upside down, Bruce. The wallpaper on it doesn't match the pattern of the rest of the wall now.
Suffering catfish. Bailey will see it and catch on. Where's that screwdriver? We've got to fix it, Clark.
We can't. Bailey just came in.
But how could he? The door...
He must have slipped the door catch when he went out before.
Feel all right now, Mr. Kent?
Oh, I never felt worse in my life.
Their faces pale as sheets. Clark Kent and Bruce Wayne watch wide-eyed as Slick Bailey bustles cheerily into the room to resume his examination of the walls in search of the secret closet. The closet is gone, but in their haste, Kent and Wayne made an error which may nullify all their work and reveal Kent's double identity. What can Kent do now? What will happen? There are more thrills and surprises in tomorrow's exciting episode, fellows and girls, so be sure to listen. Tune in, same time, same station, for Chapter 10 of The Mystery of the Stolen Costume on The Adventures of Superman.
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC Comics magazine and is brought to you Monday through Friday at this same time. This program came from New York. Stay tuned to your mutual station for Captain Midnight, which follows in just a moment. And right after Captain Midnight, you will hear Tom Mix and his Ralston Straight Shooters. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Yes, it's Superman, strange visitor from the planet Krypton, who came to Earth with amazing physical powers far beyond those of mortal men, and who, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper, wages a never-ending battle for truth and justice. Today, Superman and Batman realize they have committed a blunder which may have very serious consequences.
Great Scott, Batman. Look. Look at that wall panel.
Holy smokes. What a mistake.
Yes, and here comes Bailey. What'll we do?
I'm afraid it's too late to do anything, Superman. We're sunk.
Listen to this, gang. It's a true story. The locker room was electric with tension. All the men on the football team knew the captain was angry at them. Sharp tempers snapped through the air, and snatches of irritable conversation whipped back and forth. The boys pulled their uniforms off viciously. Suddenly, the whole room froze into silence as the door opened and the captain walked in. He was an 18-year-old lad who moved with the grace of a true athlete. His good-natured grin was known all over town, but today that grin wasn't there. His face was drawn in the hard lines of disappointment. He told them that he had always been proud to be their captain, but now they had let him down. They had acted without the backbone he had always admired in them. They had actually refused to play another high school team because there was a Negro boy on the squad. This isn't the kind of football I play, he said. Better get yourself another captain. And he left the room. Complete silence. After a while, the quarterback turned to the right tackle. Maybe we ought to call him back, he said. I think I'd rather play the game his way, come to think of it. The team went along with the quarterback, and the captain did come back. Since that day, the captain's name has become known throughout the world. For this captain was Ike Eisenhower, the man who guided our soldiers to victory, who led us in our battle against Hitlerism, who broke the forces of prejudice and bigotry. Yes, boys and girls, Ike Eisenhower always put up a good fight for what he believed in. He proved that in Africa, in Europe, and first of all, in a locker room in Kansas. Let that be an example to us all.
And now, the adventures of Superman. Just before he died, a wounded ex-convict revealed to Biggie Conroy, a rackets boss, that he'd discovered Superman lived in a building called the Maple Crest Arms, in an apartment which had a secret closet behind a movable wall panel. Then, knowing he could make a fortune from the underworld if he knew Superman's other identity, Conroy had a henchman named Slick Bailey pose as a painting contractor and try to locate the apartment in the Maple Crest Arms, which had the secret closet. When Bailey entered the apartment of Clark Kent, who, as we know, is Superman, and began to examine the walls, Kent became suspicious. To get rid of Bailey, he pretended to throw a fit. And realizing that Bailey would return to resume his search, Kent and his friend Bruce Wayne, who was really Batman, worked like beavers to brick up the telltale secret closet in Kent's bedroom. But just as they finished, and Slick Bailey was at the door, they found they had made a terrible blunder. For in their haste, they had replaced the movable panel in the wall upside down.
That's Bailey at the door, Bruce. Now we are sunk.
Wait. Maybe he won't notice it, Clark.
How can he help noticing? The wallpaper in the panel doesn't match the design in the rest of the wall now.
Oh, you're right. But what can we do now? We haven't time to replace the panel.
We can't let him in until we get the panel fixed.
Somebody opened the door.
It's Bailey. He must have left it unlocked when he went out before.
Uh-oh.
Mr. Kent?
Oh, we're sunk now, Clark.
You okay now, Mr. Kent?
Oh, I never felt worse in my life.
As Slick Bailey, fox-faced, sharp-eyed, enters the bedroom, smiling cheerfully, Bruce Wayne gazes from him to the telltale wall panel in dismay. Clark Kent, moving instinctively, his mind racing desperately, takes one long step to the wall and turns with his back against the panel. His tall figure and broad shoulders almost hide it.
Sorry I made a nuisance of myself when you were here before, Mr. Bailey.
Oh, that's okay, Mr. Kent. I already checked the living room walls. I'll just go over to the bedroom now, if you don't mind.
Look, I never saw a painter tap on the walls like that. What's the idea?
Oh, I'm looking for cracks.
Well, there aren't any cracks in my walls.
Well, you never can tell, Mr. Kent. Might be very slight under the paint, you know, and I have to make sure the walls are absolutely okay before I put my fireproof paint on.
Well, how do you expect to find cracks under the paint, Mr. Bailey?
Well, the sound when I tap them tells me if the walls are solid.
Ah.
Do you mind moving a little bit so as I can have a look at this panel, Mr. Kent?
Don't bother. I know this wall is solid, Mr. Bailey.
Well, I want to see for myself.
You do?
Yeah.
Oh, well, listen. Yeah, how do you like that, Mr. Bailey? You can't tell me this wall isn't good and solid.
It certainly is.
Yeah. Well, that panel sounds okay. Well, I'll have a look at the rest of the walls, and we'll take them along.
Oh, boy. Well, Bailey's gone, Clark.
It's an out of my life, I hope, Bruce.
Oh, boy. I had a bad moment when he asked you to move away from that upside-down panel.
Maybe you think I didn't.
Well, I think all your troubles are over now, Clark.
I wish I could be certain of that.
You can, because even if you're right and Bailey is hunting for that secret closet, he didn't find it in this apartment.
Well, that's true, but
So, QED, you can't be Superman.
Oh.
Come on, Clark. Let's go out and celebrate.
I tell you, Biggie, there's no secret closet in any apartment in the Maple Crest Arms.
There must be, Slick.
But there ain't. It went over every inch of every wall in every apartment. Willie Snyder must have met some other building.
No, he clearly said the Maple Crest Arms, and besides...
He was full of lead dying. He could easily have made a mistake in the name of the building.
I know he didn't make a mistake, because the cop who shot him caught him coming out the back entrance of the Maple Crest Arms.
Ah. Well, I can't figure it out.
You must have missed the secret closet.
I tell you, I didn't miss it. It just ain't there.
It must be. Snyder had Superman's own costume that he said he found in this closet. And closets can't just disappear.
I know, but...
Hey, wait. Maybe it did.
Huh?
Maybe the secret closet did disappear.
Well, how could that be, Biggie?
Look, Slick, suppose Superman noticed his costume was gone. He knew about Snyder being shot in the alley, so he could have figured Snyder contacted somebody before he died. And this somebody would check up on his story. So he got rid of the closet to throw us off his track.
Yeah, but how could he get rid of a closet?
How do I know? Maybe he bricked it up or moved the whole wall. He can do anything. Superman, you know.
Yeah. Maybe you got something there, Biggie.
Sure. That must be the answer.
Well, if it is, we're stuck. That closet's all we've got to go by.
Maybe not. We know he lives in the Maple Crest.
We don't know for sure. I've been thinking, Biggie. Maybe some guy just had that costume around for a masquerade ball or something.
Would he keep it in a secret closet, and then when it was swiped, would he go to a lot of trouble and maybe a lot of expense to do away with the closet?
No, I guess not.
Of course he wouldn't, Slick. You see, a lot of guys have figured out Superman must have another identity. And this makes me sure of it. Now, all we have to do is find out his other identity, and we can sell our info to big-time operators for a fortune. Or we can use it ourselves.
Stop, Raymond. First, we gotta find out.
I think I know how to find out.
Yeah, how?
Just leave it to me. First, though, I want a list of all the tenants in the Maple Crest Arms, and I want a little dope on them, how old they are, what they look like. You know, you can get that for me?
I guess so, but...
Okay, then get me that list, Slick, and hurry it up.
We'll be back in just a moment for the tense climax of today's episode. So keep listening.
Boys and girls, did you ever wonder what's in a name? Well, during the Middle Ages, men were known only by their first names. But soon there were so many Johns, Henrys, and Richards that it all became a little confusing. The town criers, therefore, went about proclaiming that all loyal citizens must choose last names which they and their whole families would bear and pass down to their children. Now, most of the men of that time were pretty busy and didn't have the patience to sit down and figure out fancy names for themselves. So some of them simply added the word son to their father's first name and became Mr. Johnson, Isaacson, Michelson, and so on. Many others took the name of their trade. The tailor of the town named himself Mr. Taylor. The gardener became Mr. Gardner. Well, the same thing happened to a fellow who was the blacksmith. When the town crier asked him what name he had chosen for himself, he said, "People hereabout call me Joseph the Smith. I shall take Smith as my surname. From now on, I shall be Joseph Smith." And that's how we got all the Joe Smiths today. Somebody way back in the ancestry of every Joe Smith was a blacksmith or a goldsmith. But there are lots of Americans named Smith whose names aren't so easy to recognize. For instance, there's Mr. Kovacs. His name means Smith in the native tongue of his Czechoslovakian ancestors. Mr. Kowalski's great-grandfather was a smithy in Poland. Schmidt is the German for Smith, and Kuznetsky is Russian for the same thing. Kovacs, Kowalski, Schmidt, Kuznetsky, they all mean the same thing. Just plain Joe Smith, American.
And now, back to the adventures of Superman. As we continue, Biggie Conroy is poring over a list of the tenants in the Maple Crest Arms, the building in which Superman lives in his guise of reporter Clark Kent. Finally, with a triumphant grunt, the racket boss writes 3 names on a slip of paper and pushes the slip across the table to Slick Bailey.
Slick, one of those 3 guys is Superman.
Oh, yeah? Let's see, Biggie. George Abner Dean, apartment 3G. What makes you think he might be Superman?
He's young, a big fella, and he lives alone. Well, we know Superman is young and a big guy. I figure he'd be living alone, too, keeping his secret.
Maybe.
Also, Dean teaches English at Metropolis University. A nice, quiet school teacher would be a good thing for Superman to be, if he didn't want anyone to suspect who he really was. You catch?
Yeah. Now, how about this next guy, Philip Marshall, apartment 5K? Why'd you pick him?
Same reasons I picked Dean. Marshall's young, big, and a bachelor. Also, the dope you got on him says he travels a lot.
So what?
Superman travels a lot, too, don't he?
Yeah. Man, that kind of adds up. But you're all what in this last guy, though, Biggie?
Mean this guy, Clark Kent?
Yeah, I could scratch him out right now.
How come?
He's a panty waste. He said he didn't want his apartment painted because the smell makes him sick. I am allergic to the smell of paint, he said. Then he throws a fit. Goes off his nuts.
Are you kidding?
No. Passed right out in a faint. I even had to help get him in a bed. A friend of his who was there says Kent often gets like that, so you can forget him.
I don't know about that.
How about I tell you, the guy's a weak sister and a screwball. He couldn't be Superman.
He might have been putting on an act.
An act?
Sure, to fool you, so you'd go away saying he couldn't be Superman.
Go on. You think he could be our guy?
Could be, considering this other stuff I got on him.
What other stuff?
Well, he's a reporter on the Daily Planet. That's the paper that always gets the stories on Superman first, you know.
That's right.
And Clark Kent gets most of the scoops on Superman.
He does, huh? Hey, maybe he is our guy, Biggie.
Well, take it easy, Slick. I'm sure one of these 3 guys is. George Dean, or Philip Marshall, or Clark Kent. And I know how to find out which one is.
How?
Get your hat and come along with me. Before the day is over, we'll know who Superman is. And then, the sky's the limit for us, Slick. Come on.
Followed by the eager Slick Bailey, Biggie Conroy leads the way from his house. On his way, he says, to discover Superman's double identity. As we know, one of the names on Conroy's list, Clark Kent, is Superman. What is the racket boss' plan to prove it? And will he succeed? We'll see Conroy in action in tomorrow's exciting episode, fellows and girls. So don't miss it. Tune in, same time, same station, for Chapter 11 of The Mystery of the Stolen Costume on The Adventures of Superman.
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC Comics magazine and is brought to you Monday through Friday at this same time. This program came from New York. Stay tuned to your mutual station for Captain Midnight, which follows in just a moment. And right after Captain Midnight, you will hear Tom Mix and his Ralston Straight Shooters. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
it's Superman, strange visitor from the planet Krypton, who came to Earth with amazing physical powers far beyond those of mortal men, and who, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper, wages a never-ending battle for truth and justice. Today, Superman is in great danger as two unscrupulous men who are on the verge of discovering his double identity set a trap for the Man of Steel.
You see, Slick, I'm sure one of these three men, George Dane, Philip Marshall, or Clark Kent, is Superman. And I think I know how to find out which one it is.
Yeah, Biggie? How?
I'll show you. Get your hat and come with me. And before the night is over, we'll know who Superman is.
Those among you, gang, who are or have been Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts know and understand the importance of preparedness, the wisdom of being ready in advance for anything that may happen. And in a great and large country such as ours, many things can and do happen. Disastrous occurrences that strike without warning. Floods, explosions, devastating fires, mine cave-ins, tornadoes, epidemics. All things that take great toll of human life, and which, in most instances, would be even more catastrophic if it were not for a wonderful organization that always stands prepared to bring relief to the suffering, solace to bereaved survivors, and comfort to all concerned. That organization is the splendid American Red Cross. Whenever disaster in any form strikes a community, anywhere in the United States, the Red Cross goes immediately into action. During the emergency, the Red Cross provides basic needs such as food, shelter, clothing, and medical care. Later, it assists in rehabilitation and provides further help for victims of a disaster by assisting in repairing and rebuilding homes, supplying household furniture and equipment, and further provides long-term medical and nursing care. Assistance of this kind is provided by the Red Cross to all people, regardless of race, religion, or color. For the Red Cross stands ready and willing to provide assistance to humanity. But that, gang, costs a good deal of money, which is why the Red Cross conducts an annual drive for funds. Remind your mother and your father to contribute generously. Don't neglect to make contributions yourself. Keep in mind that no one knows where disaster will strike. So a contribution to the Red Cross is insurance for your own future welfare.
And now, the adventures of Superman. When a dying ex-convict revealed to Biggie Conroy, a big-time racketeer, that he had accidentally discovered and stolen Superman's costume from a secret closet in an apartment in the Maple Crest Arms, Conroy reasoned that Superman must have another identity. And visualizing a fortune for himself if he could uncover this great secret, he had a henchman named Slick Bailey pose as a painting contractor and enter all the 84 apartments in the Maple Crest Arms to search for the secret closet. Suspicious of Bailey, Clark Kent, who is Superman, bricked up his secret closet and so avoided exposure. But suspecting what may have occurred, Conroy collected information on every tenant in the building, and after some study decided that one of three men, Clark Kent included, is Superman. Now, having formulated a plan, Conroy and Slick Bailey drive to the Maple Crest Arms. And as we join them, they are walking along the third-floor corridor.
Let's see, apartment 3F. Now we want the next one, Slick. 3G. Here we are.
Yeah, the card under the bell says George Abner Dean.
Right. Now we'll find out if this guy is Superman. Ring the bell.
Wait. Tell me first what you're going to do. To find out, I mean.
Never mind. Just keep your eyes open and you'll see. All you got to remember is I'm your partner, see? And we come to find out what color this guy wants his apartment painted.
Yeah, okay. Only
what?
Well, supposing this guy is Superman, if he finds out we're onto him, he might get sore and do something to us.
Don't worry, he won't know. Now ring the bell.
Okay. Maybe he ain't home.
He's home, all right. Do your stuff.
Yes?
Mr. Dean, I'm Bailey, the painting contractor. I was here the other morning looking over your walls, remember?
Oh, yes. Come in.
Thanks. I brought my partner along. We got to know what colors you want, see? And he's an expert on this new fireproof paint.
Oh, well...
Mr. Conroy, Mr. Dean.
How'd you do?
Glad to know you, Mr. Dean. We're going to give you a first-class job here. What's the matter, Mr. Dane? Did I shake your hand too hard?
Why, I seem to have cut it.
Cut your hand?
Yes. You see, it's bleeding slightly.
Well, now, how did that happen?
Say, that must have been my ring. It's got a rough edge here. See where the stone is set in?
Oh, yes.
I've been meaning to get that fixed. I'm awfully sorry, Mr. Dane. You got some iodine around?
Oh, that's all right. It's just a scratch.
You got to be careful of scratches, though.
Yeah, you might get it affected or something.
I'll take care of it later. Right now, I'm expecting some friends in, so let's decide about the painting.
Okay.
Whatever you say, Mr. Dane.
You said you wanted to know what color I wanted my apartment painted?
Yeah.
That's right. You see, with this new fireproof paint we're using, we got to order the colors pretty far in advance.
Oh, well, I think the color I have now is all right.
Make a note of that, Bailey.
Right.
We'll be going there, Mr. Dane.
Oh, wait.
I'm much obliged, Mr. Dean, and I'm sorry again about scratching your hand.
Forget it. Good night.
Good night. Come on, Bailey. Well, Slick, we can scratch Dean off the list.
How do you know, Biggie? I thought you were going to make some kind of a test.
I did.
You did?
Sure. Didn't you see me cut his hand with my ring?
Well, yeah, but what kind of a test is that?
Don't you get it? Superman's skin is like steel.
It is?
Sure, it can't be cut. Haven't you read 1,000 times how knives and even bullets just bounce off him?
Hey, that's right. Boy, I gotta hand it to you, Biggie. You got a head on you.
You're just waking up to that, eh?
Well, no, but...
All right, skip it. See, now, the second guy on the list is Philip Marshall, apartment 5K. Come on, we'll walk up these two flights.
Okay.
Now we find out if either Marshall or Clark Kent is Superman.
Mr. Marshall, I'd like you to meet my partner, Mr. Conroy, Mr. Marshall.
How do you do, Mr. Conroy?
I'm sure glad to know you, Mr. Marshall.
Ow!
Oh, excuse me, Mr. Marshall. I guess I shook your hand too hard.
Something cut me.
Cut you?
Yes. See, my finger's bleeding.
Well, what do you know?
That leaves him.
Say, I'm awful sorry, Mr. Marshall. It must have been my ring. It's got a rough edge on it, see? You better put some iodine on it right away.
Look, Biggie, what did we come outside for?
Try it, Slick. I gotta think.
About what? Dean ain't Superman, and neither is Marshall. So if you're right in your figuring, Clark Kent must be.
Yeah, sure. But just the same...
Look, let's go up to his apartment and make sure. You give him the ring treatment.
No, I can't do that, Slick.
Why not?
But Kent's a newspaper reporter.
I know, so what?
So in case you've forgotten, I used to be pretty big stuff in this town. Before Perry White got elected mayor and cracked down on all my rackets. Chances are Kent will recognize me.
Oh, I get it.
Well, let's see.
Look,
now.
give me the ring. I'll go up and make the test on him.
No. Hey, I got an idea.
Yeah? Like what?
Come on over to that drugstore in the corner. I know how to handle this.
What is Biggie Conroy's new plan to discover whether or not Clark Kent is Superman? We'll be back in a moment with the tense climax of today's episode, so keep listening.
Before we continue, gang, let me say just a few more words on behalf of the American Red Cross, that splendid organization of unselfish workers whose only aim is to minimize loss of human life and provide simple creature comforts whenever and wherever such comforts are lacking. As President Truman so aptly put it, many times a year the people turn to the Red Cross. Once a year, the Red Cross turns to the people. Well, that time is now. Earlier in this program, I told you how the Red Cross functions in time of disaster. But I think you should know that the Red Cross works not only when disaster strikes, but all the time. Its services being many and varied. For instance, in addition to the Red Cross Disaster Service, there is the work of this wonderful organization on behalf of the National Blood Program, which accumulates a blood bank and provides plasma free of charge to patients who require transfusions. Then there is the Red Cross Nursing Service, which provides nursing care in the home to people who cannot afford private services of this kind, trains housewives to be practical nurses, and assists in the work of public health departments. The Red Cross serves veterans, too, in hospitals and at home. It also provides assistance in hospitals of the armed forces and brings cheer and comfort to men in army camps. But in all it does to help others, the Red Cross depends on you and me to help it, because its services cost a good deal of money per year. And without our support, the work of the Red Cross could not go on. So help the Red Cross to help others. Make your contributions early and often. through the Red Cross Fund campaign.
And now, back to the adventures of Superman. Unaware of the new plot against him, Clark Kent is in his apartment, where we find him speaking with cub reporter Jimmy Olsen, who has just arrived.
Oh, nice of you to drop in, Jim. What's on your mind?
Well, Mr. White and Miss Lane, all of us down at the office, we're worried about you, Mr. Kent.
Worried? About me? Why?
Well, you've been acting so strangely, sort of.
Oh, what do you mean?
Well, you've been so jumpy, like saying funny things that don't make sense, and right after that, contradicting what you said before.
Oh.
Mr. White and Miss Lane think you're sick, but, I think you've got something on your mind.
You're right, Jim. I did have something on my mind.
I knew it. Look, Mr. Kent, can you tell me or Mr. White?
Well...
You know we'll do anything we can to help you, whatever it is.
It's very nice of you, Jim, but I don't need any help. This, trouble is all over, I hope.
Oh, gee, that's swell. As a matter of fact, you do seem more like yourself this evening.
Yeah, I feel fine now. There's nothing like a bit of bricklaying to cure what ails you.
Bricklaying? What do you mean?
I'll tell you all about it sometime, Jim. Well, what's new at the office?
Well, nothing special. The police still haven't found Dr. Asa Bushmill, you know.
They haven't?
Uh-uh.
That's odd. I was sure he'd been grabbed to operate on Willie Snyder, but Snyder was found dead in the park.
You mean that ex-con who shot the police officer?
Yes, the one who got my costume.
Got your what?
Well, he broke into my apartment, you know.
Oh, I know. You never did tell us what he stole, though.
Oh, it was just a garment.
Garment?
Sure, you know. Clothing, Jim.
Oh. Well, did he take much?
No, but... Uh-oh.
Oh, that's your doorbell. Just a minute. I'll answer it, Mr.
No, Jim, wait.
What's the matter?
I don't want either of us to answer the door.
Huh?
Oh, but you called out. He knows somebody's here.
Who knows?
Bailey, the phony painting contractor. He's at the door with another man.
See, how do you know who's at the door?
How do I... Well, I know. Oh, if only you hadn't called out. Now he won't go away.
Gosh, Mr. Kent, what's come over you again?
Well, apparently I didn't throw him completely off the track when I bricked up the closet, and now he's back to snoop around some more. Or maybe he does know the truth now, and...
The truth about what? Gee whiz, Mr. Kent, what's the matter?
Oh, this is terrible, Jim. I don't know what to do.
Uncertain, every keen sense telling him that Bailey means danger to him, Clark Kent stares from the door to Jimmy Olsen, who stares back at his friend, certain Kent has lost his mind. As we know, Slick Bailey does mean danger to Kent. Great danger. But Kent is now apparently trapped. What will happen? A great deal happens tomorrow, fellows and girls, so be sure to listen. Tune in, same time, same station, for Chapter 12 of The Mystery of the Stolen Costume on The Adventures of Superman.
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC Comics magazine and is brought to you Monday through Friday at this time. This program came from New York. Stay tuned to your mutual station for Captain Midnight, which follows in just a moment. And right after Captain Midnight, you will hear Tom Mix and his Ralston Straight Shooters. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Yes, it's Superman, strange visitor from the planet Krypton, who came to Earth with amazing physical powers far beyond those of mortal men, and who, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper, wages a never-ending battle for truth and justice. Today, during the absence of Clark Kent, who is Superman, cub reporter Jimmy Olsen reveals the reason for great concern in a confidential talk with Lois Lane.
Gosh, this is terrible, Miss Lane. I don't know what to do.
Why? What do you mean, Jim? What's wrong?
I just found out something about Mr. Kent.
About Clark?
Yeah. Well, you better take a deep breath, Miss Lane, because this is going to be a shock.
Johnny has a broken front tooth. Johnny has 2 freckles on his nose. All boys with a broken front tooth have 2 freckles on their noses. Sounds silly, doesn't it, gang? Yet that's how some people reason. How many times have you heard a man say, all the Irish have terrible tempers? Well, ask him how he came to that conclusion, and 9 chances out of 10 he'll say, well, Johnny has a temper and Johnny is Irish. So all Irish have tempers. Well, that sort of reasoning doesn't make much sense, boys and girls. Not any more sense than saying that all boys with a broken front tooth have 2 freckles on their noses. You see, gang, all people aren't ever anything. Why, with the exception of some scientific facts about the human body, there isn't a single sentence you could say that would apply to all people. Even when there is a rule that is pretty general about human nature, there are always some exceptions. But when you start to make rules about people of certain races, religions, or nationalities, you might as well stop before you start. It just can't be done. You see, characteristics that people have are the result of their own personal makeup and of their experiences. And, of course, they have very little to do with their race or religion. Some people of every group have bad tempers or are lazy or mean. On the other hand, some people of every race and religion are among those you would be lucky to have as your friend. Well, boys and girls, whenever you're tempted to say all instead of some, think twice and then say to yourself, Johnny has a broken front tooth. Johnny has 2 freckles on his nose. All boys with a broken front tooth have 2 freckles on their noses. Think how silly that sounds, and then think straight.
And now, the adventures of Superman. When a dying convict revealed to Biggie Conroy, a racketeer, that Superman lived in an apartment in the Maple Crest Arms, Conroy, realizing he could make a fortune if he could identify the Man of Steel, had a henchman pose as a painting contractor and search all the apartments in the Maple Crest Arms for a secret closet in which the convict had found Superman's costume. But Clark Kent, who is Superman, became suspicious of what was afoot and temporarily avoided exposure by breaking up the secret closet. By a clever ruse, Conroy then collected information on all the tenants in the building. He eliminated all whom he suspected of being Superman. That is, all but one, Clark Kent. As we continue now, 2 of Conroy's men have arrived at Kent's apartment with a plan to prove whether or not he is Superman. But as they ring the bell, Kent, who is talking with cub reporter Jimmy Olsen, probes the door with his X-ray vision and recognizes one of the men.
Uh-oh.
Just a minute. I'll answer the door, Mr. Kent.
No, Jim, no. Come back here.
But somebody's at the door.
I know. It's Mr. Bailey.
Who?
Bailey, that phony painting contractor, and another man. They came back to find...
How do you know?
Never mind that. I know Bailey means danger to me, Jim. Great danger.
Danger? To you?
Yes. I think Bailey suspects who I am, and he's going to try to prove it.
What do you mean, he suspects who you are?
Oh, well, I mean...
Look, Mr. Kent, I don't know what's wrong with you, but I'm going to answer the door.
No, Jim, no. Now, wait till I get into the bedroom. Then let Bailey in. Tell him I'm away.
But what am I supposed to be doing here?
You? You're staying with me. Now, go on, do as I say, Jim. It's important. Terribly important.
Oh, gee whiz. Okay, I'm coming. I'm sorry to keep you waiting.
Too bad I have to bother you again.
I'm Bailey's partner, Mr. Kent. Glad to meet you.
Danny, he ain't Kent.
Ouch! My hand.
You say he ain't Kent?
No.
Gosh, look at my hand. It's bleeding.
Oh, it's just a scratch, kid. I must have done it with my ring. See, it's kind of rough here.
You ought to be more careful.
Sure he should. Look, buddy, we got the contract to paint these apartments. We want to ask Mr. Kent what color he wants on the walls. Is he here?
No, he's out.
When'll he be back?
I don't know.
You don't know, huh? Well, what do we do now, Bailey?
Well, as long as we're here, I'll have another look at the walls in the bedroom. I just remembered there's one panel I didn't get a good look at yesterday.
No, don't go in there.
I'll only be a minute.
No, wait.
Just want to see that one panel.
Holy smokes. He isn't here.
Huh? What'd you say, kid?
Nothing.
I was right. There ain't anything behind these walls. Not now, anyways. Tell Mr. Kent we'll check with him about the colors later, buddy.
Okay, mister.
Let's go, Danny.
Sorry I scratched your hand, kid.
Oh, that's all right. Mr. Kent. Mr. Kent. They're gone. You can come out of the clothes closet now. Mr. Kent. Wait. He isn't here.
Here I am, Jim.
What the... Oh, where were you, Mr. Kent?
Oh, I was just outside.
Outside?
Uh-huh.
Quit your kidding. You must have been hiding under the bed.
No, I wasn't, but...
Look,
that's
I don't get it. Why were you hiding from those men? They're just painters.
Are they? I noticed Bailey had another look for the secret closet. Good thing I set the panel right side up again.
What is all this about panels and secret closets? Gee whiz, Mr. Kent, do you feel all right?
No, I certainly do not.
Oh, I thought so. Look, you better lie down. I'll call a doctor.
No, this is no job for a doctor.
But you said you didn't feel well.
I don't, but a doctor can't help me. No, I've got to think, Jim, and it's too late. Put some iodine on that scratch and go home, will you? I'll see you in the morning.
You see, Miss Lane, all these painters wanted to know was what colors Mr. Kent wanted his walls painted.
Yes?
But he insisted the men were dangerous, and he hid under the bed.
He hid under the bed?
Uh-huh. And
What?
after they'd gone, he said they'd come to look for his secret closet.
His secret closet?
That's what he said. He said a lot of other goofy things, too, like they wanted to see if they could draw his blood.
What?
No kidding. Golly, I hate to say it, Miss Lane, but, well, I think Mr. Kent is sick in the head.
I've known there was something wrong with Clark for several days, Jim. He's been acting so strangely.
And how? I wanted to call a doctor last night, but he wouldn't let me. He said a doctor couldn't help him.
That's what he told me the day before.
Look, we've got to do something before he gets into serious trouble.
I know. Wait a minute, Jim. I saw him go into his office just a few minutes ago. I'm going to try and talk to him. You wait here. Now, look, Clark. You know I'm your friend, don't you?
Well, sure. Of course I do, Lois.
Well, all right, then. Then I want you to listen to me. Look, Clark, I know of a very nice little, well, it's kind of a rest home up in the mountains.
Great Scott, Lois. Wait.
Huh? What's the matter?
He just came in.
Who came in? Where?
The big fellow who was with Bailey last night.
What?
Just came into the city room.
Clark.
Talking to Beanie now. Oh, Beanie's pointing to this office.
Clark, will you stop it? How can you see into the city room?
Must have some new trick up his sleeve.
Clark, for heaven's sake, will you get control of
Can't
yourself?
keep dodging them. They're bound to catch up with me sometime.
Clark, listen to me.
I've got to do something drastic and do it now. Fast.
Alarmed, Lois Lane can do nothing but stand helplessly by as Clark Kent rushes from his office and strides swiftly through the Daily Planet city room. What is he going to do? We'll be back in a moment for the climax of today's episode, so keep listening.
Nancy had a crush on one of the boys in the senior class, the one with the blonde hair and wonderful smile. Oh, it was a terrible crush, and the sad part about it was that Nancy didn't even know his name. In fact, she knew nothing about him except that he was very handsome and very popular and very witty, judging by all the attention he got. Well, finally, after months of hero worship from afar, the great day came. Nancy was invited to a party. And there he was. Excitedly, she nudged her girlfriend and whispered, "Who's that cute fellow over there?" "Oh," answered her friend, "that's Chris Ingeberg. He's president of the Norwegian Boys Club. Come on, I'll introduce you." Well, Nancy's face dropped a mile in disappointment. "Never mind," she said sadly. "No point in meeting him. He's Norwegian, and I can't stand Norwegians." Well, gang, did you ever hear anything that made less sense? For weeks, while Nancy didn't know the national background of the boy, she thought he was wonderful. But once she found out he was Norwegian, she immediately decided she didn't like him. Well, that, boys and girls, is just plain dumb. You wouldn't like it very much if the guys from the next block decided they didn't like you because you lived on a different block. Hey, you'd object. You fellas don't know anything about what I'm really like. How can you say that you don't like me just because I live on a certain block? Well, plenty of kids in this block are really swell guys. And plenty of kids in every racial, religious, and national groups are swell, too. Boys and girls, make up your mind about others by getting to know them individually. That's the only way you'll find out what really makes them tick.
And now, back to the adventures of Superman. As we continue now, Clark Kent, in his true identity of Superman, has streaked to the home of his friend, the famous Batman.
Say what you want, Batman, but now I'm positive that fellow Bailey suspects I'm Clark Kent and is out to prove it.
How can you be positive, Superman?
For one thing, he said he's a painting contractor, but there's no painting contractor named Bailey listed in the Metropolis telephone directory.
I see.
Secondly, he had another look for my secret closet last night.
Really?
Yes. And while it might have been an accident, the fellow who was with him, a gorilla if I ever saw one, cut Jim's finger with his ring while he was shaking hands, apparently under the impression Jim was Clark Kent.
So? What does that prove?
Well, he may have been trying to find out if my skin is impenetrable.
That's a pretty tall assumption, isn't it?
Is it? When Herbert Calkins, our Scotland Yard friend, suspected my double identity, he tried the same trick, remember?
Say, that's right.
Well, I can't keep dodging these fellas, Batman. They suspect Kent and Superman are one, and they won't let go until they prove it. And when that happens, I'm a cooked goose.
I know, but what can you do?
Only one thing. Get rid of them.
Get rid of them?
Right.
What, you can't mean...
I've got a plan, and if it works, they'll never bother me again. Now, can I count on you to help me?
Of course you can. And you can count on Robin, too. But look...
This may be dangerous, Batman. Very dangerous.
In case you've forgotten, Danger is my middle name, and Robin's, too.
Good.
Now, what have you cooked up?
You remember Clifftown Village? We went trout fishing up there one time.
Clifftown Village?
Yes, you
Oh,
remember.
yes, up in the Blue Hills, isn't it?
That's right. Well, about a half mile below the village, there's a sharp bend in the road. An old orchard is on one side with a brick wall around it. Just above it is Dr. McIntosh's house. Get the picture?
Yes, but I don't see what you're driving.
I want you to meet me. Let's see, it's now 10:15. It's about 3 hours' drive up there. You and Robin meet me below the village at the bend in the road at 1:30 this afternoon, okay?
Well, yes, but
now, don't come as Batman and Robin, and don't drive your Batmobile. Just come in an ordinary car as Bruce Wayne and Dick Grayson. Get that?
Sure, but I wish you'd tell me what you're up to.
Not now. You'd only put up an argument, and besides, I haven't another minute. I got things to do. Oh, just one more thing, Batman.
Yes?
Don't be surprised at anything you see.
Hey, this sounds intriguing, Superman.
It is. If only it works. Well, I've got to go now. Mind if I leave through your window?
Help yourself.
Okay, thanks. Now, I can count on you and Robin to be there at 1:30.
You can count on us, chum.
Good. And remember, don't be surprised at anything. Now, up, and away!
Leaping from Batman's window into the sky, Superman streaks away on his mysterious mission. What is his plan to prevent Biggie Conroy and his criminal followers from revealing his double identity? And why did he warn Batman to be prepared for any surprise and for danger? There are more thrills in tomorrow's exciting episode, fellows and girls, so be sure to listen. Tune in, same time, same station, for Chapter 13 of The Mystery of the Stolen Costume on The Adventures of Superman.
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC Comics magazine and is brought to you Monday through Friday at this same time. This program came from New York. Stay tuned to your mutual station for Captain Midnight, which follows in just a moment. And right after Captain Midnight, you will hear Tom Mix and his Ralston Straight Shooters. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.